Hello everyone, Nick of StreetPass Princeton here to get underway with a battle. This was me versing the leader of StreetPass Long Island, also known as Jeff. So I take on Jeff in this battle. So we're gonna get underway right now. So it was a pretty fun battle overall, and I had a really good time, and it really came down to the wire. I'm not gonna spoil who won or anything, but I'm just gonna say that this was a really close match. It surprised me. So he sends out his Klefki, and Klefki has an air balloon, and he goes and T-waves my Probopass, which I thought, well, it doesn't really matter, because Probopass is already kind of fast. So I went with Stealth Rock, just to get the rocks up. And the rocks are on his team, so he goes with Swagger, which I'm kind of nervous about, because then it's going to be really hard to attack. Of course, it's really difficult to attack with Swagger. And of course, I end up getting hit. I hit myself in confusion. So Klefki goes for another Swagger, but I snap out of the confusion and go for Volt Switch to get out of there. This could have been good or bad for two reasons. You'll find out why. Mainly because of Klefki's T-Wave, and it's pretty obvious what he's going to do next turn. So I send in Elsa, so he goes with T-Wave again, and I'm just like, damn, he just like completely nerfed my Elsa. So Elsa goes with Taunt, and he can't move with it. So falls for the Taunt, goes for Foul Play, and it looks like Elsa is almost down, but not quite. Cursed Body will take away the Foul Play. So I go with Destiny Bond, praying to take my attacker with it, but he withdraws Klefki, and he ends up going with Gengar. And Gengar does take some damage from the stones, but not too much. So, Elsa's paralyzed, I can't move, and he goes for Dazzling Gleam. So, that's definitely going to take Elsa down more, and of course the para hacks still happen, and looks like Dazzling Gleam takes me out completely. Strangely enough, Destiny Bond does not work on Gengar, so that was surprising to me. So I go with Ariel, not thinking about Dazzling Gleam, of course. And I thought, oh, well, I can probably just set up a Focus Energy. So what I don't know is that Focus Energy, yeah, it happens. But here comes Dazzling Gleam, and man, is that going to do a lot of damage. Dazzling Gleam takes me down to 34 health, and he goes it again. I think it was a speed tie, so Gengar ends up beating me here. And Ariel ends up fainting, unfortunately. Because I know Ariel did technically move first. So I go with Probopass again. He goes with Perish Song. And I'm just like, well, hopefully I'm not paralyzed on the turn that I do Volt Switch. The first move, I go with Power Gem. I'm like, I'm doing alright damage. That's not bad. So it goes to 3. He goes with Sludge Bomb. Doesn't affect me. I go with another Power Gem. I'm doing alright damage. And then he, what happens? He goes for Protect. So I can't attack him this turn, of course. Go for Power Gem, doesn't work. So he obviously switches out when the Perish count falls to 1. Obviously. So that's why I decided to go with Volt Switch, to evade that problem. So I Volt Switch out of there. Duke of W, get back out. And I end up going with Gengar at this point, if I remember correctly, because I'm going to go for the Disable Substitute maneuver. So, send out Gengar. Go with Substitute. This is pretty classic. Abdallah has shown me this strategy. Oh, by the way, Abdallah and Mr. Ageezy, I have to give you big shout-outs. I have to also give a big shout-out to Sarcasm Sickness, also known as Terra, because they really helped me out in this battle. Honestly, if I didn't have their help, I probably wouldn't have done very well in this battle. So, he goes for Flamethrower, and I disable it before he attacks me. And so he ends up switching out his Exploud, I guess thinking he could beat me with his Gengar, which I didn't think was a great move, because I was like, well, I got my Substitute up, so even if he breaks it, I'm okay. So I go with Substitute, and I'm just, like, bearing an attack. I'm like, okay, I can handle this. So I go with Hex, and Hex is going to take out his Gengar very easily. It's super effective, and you know he's gone because the little, like, mega symbol goes away. So he's gone, and Gengar gains some health back, which is great. Goes for Goodra. So I'm waiting for the first attack. So, opposing Goodra. I go with Hex, just to get some damage up. Ooh. Do a decent job, but not a whole lot. Maybe like almost a quarter health. So he goes with Dragon Pulse. And Dragon Pulse is definitely going to take out my substitute. And that's going to fade away. So I'm going to be vulnerable again. So at this point, I'm going to probably end up going with substitute again. And at this point, I'm kind of thinking he's going to the pattern of Dragon Pulse. So he's going Dragon Pulse again to break that sub. And that sub is definitely going to take that, and it's going to break again. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to disable his move. So I disable that Dragon Pulse. But I think he knew what was going on, so he ended up switching to Muddy Water. But I avoid the attack, and I get very lucky. I probably should have subbed here, but I did not, and I ended up going for Hex. So I go for Hex, do an alright amount of damage. He goes Thunderbolt, and that takes me pretty low. That takes me almost to death with Gengar. And I shouldn't have subbed here. I should have gone for another attack, but I subbed anyway. So I take that hit, and Gengar goes out. So at this point, there's not much else I can do at this point. So I'm like, okay, Duco Wesselton, I'll choose you. I'm gonna just hit him with the Toxic, if I can get up Toxic. So, no longer... Okay, so Muddy Water. He's gonna hit me with Muddy Water. It's gonna do pretty good damage. I'm gonna eat my Citrus Berry. So that'll make me recover a little bit of health, which is good. I want to get Toxic up, so I get the Toxic. And the next turn I'm gonna switch out by using Volt Switch, which I thought was a good move. So Toxic takes his damage slowly. So it goes for Muddy Water once again. And he does take me down pretty low. I go down 36. So I go with Volt Switch, get the heck out of there. So, this is interesting with the next move I do. So I go and send out Delphox. And I'm thinking his Goodra has Assault Vest, but this is going to surprise you what happens. So Goodra takes some health from the poison, and then I go with my Power Herbed Magician Solar Beam strategy that I learned from Abdallah. Special shout out for Abdallah for this strategy. So Power Herb Solar Beam does not so much damage, but alright enough to get it low. So Magician is going to steal that weakness policy, and he's going to go for Muddy Water, unaware that I stole his weakness policy at the clinch victory. Well, not clinch victory, but clinch, like, that moment was just so clutch. So his Goodra goes down by poison, and I basically got a +2 special attack on Delphox, which is fantastic. So he sends out Exploit, and I'm like thinking, this Exploit's gonna go down. So I'm getting ready for it, and I'm like, Mystical Fire. Boom. Gone. And Mystical Fire took him out. So I took his Quick Claw now. So I had his weakness policy, used that, and now I'm at his Quick Claw. So then I'm going for Mystical Fire. I know that it's gonna technically higher his special attack, but I'm not too worried because Malamar generally runs physical moves, and not really many on the special moves. So he goes for Superpower, and I'm like, okay, that's definitely going to finish me out, because Delphox is, even though that's not very effective, it's still strong enough, and Delphox was already weak enough to begin with, unfortunately, from that Muddy Water. But, hey, that clutch weakness policy was great. So I go with Mandibuzz, and I use Brave Bird, and I'm praying just to get it down a little bit more. So I take that Squidward pretty down low. He goes for another Superpower. I'm kind of nervous thinking, okay, he has Superpower. And I did not expect his next move quite the way to be. I thought he was going to keep going for Solar Power. But I can understand, this next turn, he ends up going for Rock Slide. So I end up attacking first. I go for Brave Bird. Boom. So I almost take him down, and he ends up hitting with Rock Slide. And I'm like, ooh, that's super effective, that's not good. But I hang in there on the skin of my teeth. Thank you, Leftovers, for a little bit of recovery. And I do go with that Brave Bird once again. I gotta finish off that Squidward, that Malamar. So Malamar will definitely go out from that. Boom! And Squidward is out. Well, that was a good try, Squidward. So I gained some health recovery from the leftovers. Alright, so he goes out with Furfro. I don't really know Furfro very much, so I'm not really knowing it to anticipate. So he gets the stones in. He goes for Baby Doll Eyes. At this point, I want to get some recovery in, so I'm going for Roost. So I go Roost, try to recover some of my health. And I think I go Roost the second turn, but I'm not 100% sure. Either Roost or Taunt, we'll see. So the next turn, I get some recovery. So I get a little bit of recovery in. So it goes with Toxic. And I'm getting hit by Toxic, unfortunately, which is not very good. So I go with Taunt. I try to lock him only into attack moves, since I know he has 3 non-attacking moves, which is Toxic, Baby Doll Eyes, and I can't remember the other move. And the other move he has is Sucker Punch. So not a whole lot he has going on for Furfro. So I get some Toxic, and I'm thinking, okay, I can reset the Toxic damage by switching out, and that's what I end up doing. I switch out to Duke of W again. Duke of Wesselton, who's from Frozen. So it goes with Sucker Punch, and I'm like, oh, you think I don't know anything about Sucker Punch, do you? Well, I know that Sucker Punch only works if you use an attacking move. So that's why I go for Toxic. So I go for Toxic, and he probably thinks that I'm going to attack him next turn, which I'm anticipating, and that's why I end up moving with Toxic again. So, Taunt wears off, and he obviously switches out Furfro, and he switches in Klefki. So at this point, I know that it's going to be down to the wire. So his Klefki is versing my Duke of Wesselton. I know I can't really Toxic him, but there's not much else I can do. Goes with Swagger, and that's going to higher up my attack, but obviously cause me to get confused. So I'm confused, and I hit myself in confusion. And then he goes for Foul Play, and that's going to definitely take me out. Boom. So I have my Mandibuzz. He can't paralyze me because of poison, which is good, but it can confuse me, unfortunately. So he goes for Swagger, and I'm kind of like, okay, this is good, and this is a good move and a bad move. I feel like Jeff was being a bit gutsy here, but I know that he wants to get me out faster, so he's thinking Swagger's gonna take me out faster. And I'm thinking, well, Jeff, you're kind of taking a big risk, and I don't know, if it was me, I wouldn't be taking that. So, I mean, I do take poison damage, I take confusion damage. He goes for Swagger again, hoping to higher up my attack as fast as possible. And he's gonna higher my attack even more, and I snap out of confusion, which is great, and I go for Brave Bird. And he's kind of like thinking, oh, did I just give him a victory? So I do quite a bit of damage, even with him not having that advantage by not very effective because of the flying steel matchup. I still do a pretty good amount of damage. So at this point, I'm kind of like hanging on by the skin of my teeth, going for Brave Bird, crossing my fingers here. Boom! And it looks like I'll take out his Klefki, which is great. And luckily, that recoil damage will do a decent amount, but I will recover with some leftovers. I do take the poison damage, which isn't great. At this point, I'm trying to hang on by the skin of my teeth, so I'm going to end up going with Roost next turn. I just want to hang on as best as possible. So at this point, it's a battle of endurance. Furfro versus Mandibuzz. We'll see how this goes. So he goes with Baby Doll Eyes, obviously knowing that Swagger has hired my attack ridiculously. I'm only +3 now, not +4. So I go with Roost, I get the recovery, and I recover quite a bit of my health back. He gets his leftovers, and I get my leftovers, of course, and he gets poisoned, just like me. So both of our poisons have reset to, like, 8 damage it begins with. So, actually, I didn't reset. His is reset because he changed. I'm still going down quite a bit. I'm at 40 right now, which is not good. So he goes with Sucker Punch, but it's not going to do a whole lot of damage because Dark vs. Dark is not very effective. I go with Brave Bird. So Brave Bird is definitely going to take a lot of damage on his part. And it's going to do quite a bit. So if I just do one more Brave Bird, I could win this. His leftovers might help him, but that poison will definitely hurt him badly. So I get the lefties. And obviously he's going to go for, I think he's going to go with baby doll eyes, because he knows he needs to lower my attack badly. So Mandibuzz is down low. I'm really just crossing my fingers here. Crossing my fingers that this Brave Bird will take him out. So Brave Bird goes into effect. Boom! And it works. And that was a very close victory on my end. Hooray! I beat Jeff! So that was the battle. I have to give proper shoutouts to Mr. A. Jeezy. He actually helped create some of my team. He created Ariel, Elsa, and Duke of W from my Frozen team. And then Abdallah, because he gave me his Delphox, his Gengar, and his Mandibuzz. He also gave me quite a bit more Pokemon, and so did Mr. AGZ. And I also have to give a shout out to Tara, Sarcasm the Sickness, because she gave me some of the hold items that I used, like the citrus. Did she give me the citrus berry? I think she did. And she gave me the scope lens for the Kingdra, other known as Critdra, which was very helpful, and I really thank her a lot for that. And definitely have to give a big hand for Jeff from StreetPass Long Island for battling me. Anyway, guys, you know the drill. Like this video, leave a comment below, and do not forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Google+, and Twitter. Next events will be Animal Crossing New Leaf and Mario Kart 8. I hope to see you guys on the next time, and I will see you later. Bye!